And then all the things that you said are a part of personal growth, are a part of taking our life's experiences, the ones we love and the ones we don't, the ones we wish we can change that we can't, and those are the ones that they oftentimes learn the most from. And self-reflecting and going inside and being accountable for our actions and accountable for our thoughts, and taking those lessons to infuse into our lives to create a better person, to create the peace that we deserve by letting go of regret, forgiving ourselves for past regrets, for past actions that we might not be so proud of. It starts with reflection and accountability, leading to forgiving yourself so that you can move forward to be the better person. And to, because so I pray for you the peace that you would think you would have if you can change something in your past.
Welcome to 1188 Outside the Box, where unconventional wisdom reigns and conversations know no bounds, inspiring curiosity and self-reflection on a journey of personal growth in an authentic space to think freely outside the box. I am your host, T. Liz, and this episode's guest is credit specialist and auto broker Frank Brake. Join us as we discuss growth and life's inevitables. Sit down with us and get ready for a real, raw conversation designed to shift your perspective. Let's jump right in.
Welcome to 1188, Frank Brake. How are you?
I'm doing well, Miss Price. How are you?
I am good. Would you like to tell us a little about yourself, or would you like for it to come out in the process of this discussion?
I would like it to come out in the process.
I think that's a male answer.
I think I want to be a little mysterious.
Males always say that. Okay, so 3 words. If you can tell me your life, if you can describe your life in 3 words, what would those 3 words be and why?
Dang, that's a good one. I would have to say helpful, because I help people every day. That's my purpose, I feel like, in life. Genuine. I do it with intent. I'm very intentional, and also goofy. You know, personality takes you a long way.
It sure does. So, helpful. Why?
I do credit repair. So basically, I help people get to or get back to where they used to be or want to be to achieve their goals, dreams, aspirations, and more. You know, people don't realize, but having good credit can even help you get an apartment or a job. So it can be very critical. Yep.
And what about integrity? You said integrity, right?
Being intentional.
Intentional, okay.
Being intentional. More so just taking an extra step, going out of your way to please, doing it with a purpose, having faith, God-fearing.
Right, and then goofy.
And goofy. Just, you know, just be you. You
right.
know, if you awkward, be awkward, but just do it. You know, just be your own self in the sense of don't care about what other people think of you.
That's right. What's authenticity to you?
Me. I think I'm very authentic. But no, it's more so just being real, being true. Don't be a fraudster, like a fake. Just more so just, like I said, being true to you, whoever that may be. You know, it takes time and healing to actually get to that point.
To be able to be you in any circumstances, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Do you feel like there are different parts of us that we show to different people?
Of course.
But all that's authentic, right?
I mean, I feel like for me, personal opinion is it matters on who is in front of you. Because sometimes you definitely going to put on the front, and maybe that is you. But other times you can be very vulnerable to others.
What's vulnerability to you?
I mean, obviously the typical answer is to put your guard down. Just kind of be in the moment. No judgment. Just kind of going with the flow, I would say. You know, not really thinking about what you're doing or saying, but just in the moment.
Right. Yeah. And so, because I had a discussion with somebody the other day, which I have a lot of discussions the other day. But anyway, it was where authenticity was the a part of the discussion, and it was whether or not if you're in different space, because we're not just linear, right? And if we're in different spaces, different people get at different parts of it. It doesn't necessarily mean we're not being authentic, right? So it's not really putting up a front. Like if you're in a business meeting, and you don't talk to them like you would talk to your street friends, right? It's not really. So in that instance, it wouldn't be a front. It would just be, say, your professional side, right? Correct. And so, yeah, I think a lot of people confuse when a person may be, quote, air quote, acting different because they're around a different crowd, whereas that crowd may warrant a different side of them.
Correct.
Which it doesn't necessarily mean they're not being their authentic self. They're just being that part of themselves authentically.
Correct. I think it goes back to that it's a place and time for everything.
Right. Absolutely. And that there's a place and a time for everything. It is not okay for to walk into the library loud.
Nah.
Right. So it's like, that just like that. In certain settings, you don't act in a certain way.
Correct.
And it's just about being correct. Not fake, agree. Nor or different or any of that. Just being in just certain types of environment for certain things.
Absolutely, but I do think it really takes a lot of people a long time. It takes time to really be authentic.
To even know who we are, because let's say we spend a lot of time understanding who we are, and then when we understand who we are, then we come to the realization that we are constantly changing. We're constantly evolving into different people from life experiences. Something that may have happened to you yesterday, you're a totally different person today because of that experience, which Absolutely. Is what is life supposed to be, right? Correct. We're not supposed to stay the same. That to me is personal growth, right? Taking experiences and using them and infusing them into our daily life, into our lives, into ourselves positively. Correct. So that we can become better versions of ourselves.
It don't kill you, it make you stronger.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Most things.
Yeah, most things. It really depends on how you take it in.
Depending on what it is, some things might leave you a little weaker.
Yeah.
But yeah, I totally. That's a good statement. Do you think that changing your past affects more than just you?
No, I think it would affect a lot more people. Hopefully in a better way.
So being that we can't change the past,
what I do to change the future?
No. What will you do to have the level or gain the level of peace that you deserve?
Well, every day I pray about it. I do different things to manifest it. I consult my team. They consult with me. Therapy. Do a lot of self-reflecting. I do a lot more self rather than like let me look to someone else for the answer or let me get with somebody else to tell me what to do or their opinion. Basically it's like a cancer. I removed that cancer. Now I'm of course rebuilding strength, but I'm also loving the life that I have now.
That's all we can do, right? And then all the things that you said are part of personal growth, are part of taking our life's experiences, the ones we love and the ones we don't, the ones we wish we can change that we can't, and those are the ones that they oftentimes learn the most from. And self-reflecting and going inside and being accountable for our actions and accountable for our thoughts and taking those lessons to infuse into our lives to create a better person, to create the peace that we deserve by letting go of regret, forgiving ourselves for past regrets, for past actions that we might not be so proud of. It starts with reflection and accountability, leading to forgiving yourself so that you can move forward to be the better person. So I pray for you the peace that you would think you would have if you can change something in your past.
Yep. Yeah, but it's getting there day by day. You just can't. You got to put one foot in front of the other.
That's all we can do. What else can we do?
And that's it.
Day by day.
Day by day.
Can't go any faster than that. We sure can't go back.
Nope. But it's okay though.
Right.
That's part of the journey.
It is. Did you know that when we ponder on things of the past, traumatic experience, saying things that make us sad or feel any less than what we typically want to feel, the happiness, that our body and our mind doesn't know that it's an old trauma or old action. The more we think about it, the more we are re-experiencing it. Our bodies don't know. So I would say, which I'm still working on this too, like actively, to not give ourselves more than 9 seconds to think about what it is that may bring us down in our spirits, and start thinking about the things to lift us up in our spirits so that we don't get stuck in that constant cycle of regret. Because it's detrimental to the body. That means we're holding on to emotions, and those emotions have to go somewhere. And oftentimes they find themselves in an organ and produce cancers and produce all sorts of other things that is a dis-ease to our body. So I would just leave with that other piece of food today too.
Okay.
Because I definitely am working on not holding on to things and blaming myself for stuff I can't change.
No, I get it.
Big part of personal growth.
Yeah, personal growth is an adventure.
Personal growth is inevitable. That's the purpose of life, to grow in our space, in our bodies, in our minds, in our souls, and constantly evolve to be our highest self. That's personal growth and taking accountability for ourselves. And like you said earlier, which was a gem, not looking for outside sources to tell us anything, to go inside and figure out, why did you go down that path in the first place? Why did I say this or not say that, or why did I react in this way, or whatever it is? And whether you read a book or find a therapist or just pray, or have the ability to work through it, do that. Love or loyalty?
Loyalty.
Yeah, why is that?
Loyalty over everything. I even take loyalty over respect.
Over respect? Mm-hmm.
I feel like if you loyal, love and respect kind of go without question.
Is that true? You think so?
I believe so.
So you don't think somebody could be loyal to you just because that's their code and they can't stand you? They don't like you, but they'll be loyal because that's their code. For instance, if y'all had a beef or something and you did something and they not say that you did it, it's a form of loyalty, but that's their code of not saying, telling on you, snitching or whatever.
I get it, but for me, loyalty is deeper than that, because if you're loyal to me, you're going to respect me. If you respect me, it's love. I've been in situations where people have showed their true colors and they were not loyal. So obviously, if you were not loyal to me, of course you didn't respect me. You say you love, but what is love?
What is love to you?
Well, honestly, love is, I'm not going to say it's an illusion, but it's one of those things where I feel like it's not even a word. It's definitely an action. You know, and what they say, like love languages, it's like acts of service. It's like you have to show me certain things, not because I want it or not because I need it, but being intentional, being genuine. Love is just going out your way, because my thing is, if I do it for you, I don't expect it back from you, but it'd be nice to receive it.
So if you do something for somebody and they don't do it back to you, do you think that they don't love you?
Well, compared to a parent, I feel like, parents' love can be unconditional, but everything has conditions. Everything has conditions. But for others, I don't know. Like, it's everybody's different, but just because how I see love and how you see love can be like night and day. So it's like how I interpret it is completely different than maybe how you look at it.
So love to you is an action.
Correct.
And if a person isn't acting a certain way, then they don't love you. That's not love to you.
To me. But that's just me.
What do you think about crimes of passion?
I haven't heard it like that before. I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure. I can't answer that one.
So you think a person's ability to love is connected to their character and their upbringing and their actual actions?
I believe so, because honestly, I feel like everybody doesn't have the capability to love, and that's tough.
What if there's a person and people that have a capability to love very deeply but don't have the capability to be loyal?
I was gonna say something, but I can't say that. Nah.
Why you can't say it? I understand now. I want to know. Now you gotta say it.
That sound like my ex-wife. I was gonna say that sound like my ex-wife, but she told me she loved me to the end. She wasn't loyal.
But that don't mean she ain't love you.
I don't know what they say, when you see red flags, you gotta pay attention to them.
I've come to find that, in my opinion and in my experience, that a person's ability to love, because love is a knowing, love is deep. God is love. Love transcends. Love never ends. Love is not exact. People act out of love, right? But just because they don't do an act, especially an act that you expect, doesn't mean that they don't love you, right? And just because a person has horrible character traits, maybe because of their childhood, their upbringing, their experience, that don't mean they don't love you to the point, their capacity of love and to their understanding of what love is, right? A lot of times people can't explain what it is, but it is very real and is comparable to God, because God is love, and above all these things is love. That's his very own words, right? And so because I've asked that question to many people, I've been asking that question before this podcast. And at that time and I used to say loyalty. And at that time I was in a relationship where all I wanted was this person to be loyal to me, because I was like, fuck love, give me loyalty, because I knew they loved me, but they weren't loyal to me, right? And so, but now I choose love. I'm not going to downgrade it or be misguided in the direction of not honoring it because I've been hurt.
That's deep.
While in love.
I definitely feel like it has so many different meanings, and you're going to get so many different answers all the time.
Love, you mean, or love or loyalty?
Love, loyalty, respect, the whole nine.
Because I like to compare it to being a parent too, right? Because being a parent, I understand what they mean, or I guess being the kind of parent I am and the kind of parents I had. Then I compare it to the God and me relationship. I'm God's child, right? So He's trying to rear me, and He should, like, be looking like, okay, I know if I feel this way talking to Noble, I know God looking down at me like, how many times I gotta tell you, or guide you, or get you out of this situation, or whatever the case may be,
Right.
But yeah, and then my parents, my mama was, we she passed away in 2016, but we used to butt heads, and it used to get real. And I think that's sometimes a daughter-mother thing sometimes. And then I just realized my mom was unhealed in a lot of ways too. There's a lot of generational things that were probably passed down to her that were unhealed, and then now passed down to me, in which I'm healing, because I'm recognizing that we have things in us, we have iniquities that are passed down to us through our parents.
We do.
And through their parents.
We definitely do.
And we have to break those chains and understand why we're going through the things that we're going through, and why we may have these traits that I don't know where you get that from. I don't know where I get it from. I got to figure that out so that it doesn't continue to be passed down. But anyway.
Absolutely. And I think sometimes people need therapy.
Sometimes.
I ain't gonna lie. I don't think it works for everybody, but I definitely feel like it is an avenue that everyone should at least try once, just to see.
I used to say that I don't need therapy because I be therapizing them. I be the therapist in the room because I already know what they're gonna say and what they need and blah blah blah. And then I had a friend of mine tell me that you only get out of it what you put in. So if you go in there putting bullshit in it, you're gonna get your bullshit back. And just like you think you being their therapist, they know who you are sitting on that couch. They're trained to do that, right? So while you think you pulling a move, they know damn well what you got going on.
For sure.
So me being told that helped me in how I faced therapy, how I embraced it, how I walked into it. And I think that a lot of times when it doesn't work for people, they are not being completely honest. They are not being vulnerable, because therapy means being completely this person that you have to let your guard down and trust this person. And that's hard for a lot of people.
Very hard.
Yeah. It's hard for a lot of people because though they're not supposed to be able to tell, all you can think in the back of your mind is what they talking to other psychologists or therapy friends about X, Y, and Z going on, But yeah, I do like the fact that a lot of people are seeking help, not even only just with therapy. They go to coaches and just different avenues outside of yourself to help you navigate through things.
Yep, absolutely. Because I mean, even for me, I've done couples therapy as well as individual, and I feel like, of course, individuals, a little bit more helpful just because it's about self. But I mean, I've experienced both, and I feel like because I used to be the one who said, I don't need no therapist. I just talk to my friends and my family about it, or I talk to God about it. But sometimes you need that third party, that unbiased, situation, or even if they are biased, you'd be like, I knew I was right, but it make you feel better. But I mean, I definitely feel like it can potentially help. I think it's a good thing, not necessarily a bad. And if it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work for you, but at least try it.
Absolutely, because we all got something we need to talk about.
Yeah.
I don't care how put together you think you are, I'm okay, this and that. Everybody.
We all dysfunctional.
We all got something going on. Because we're all, if you're in a pursuit of growth, then you got to work through some stuff.
Absolutely.
And you got to work through how you work through stuff to recognize why you might deal with certain situations a certain way. And sometimes we can't do that on our own. We could read all the self-books in the world and not, first of all, if you don't apply to self-help books, they're not going to work. But we could read all the self-help books in the world. But like you said, that third party, that trained third party is, for me in my life right now, essential.
I agree. I agree, for sure.
So you were married?
Yes.
How was married life?
It was tough.
Was it tough? What made it tough?
It helps when you have, in my opinion, it helps when you're both intentional, when you're both in it to win it. But then that goes back to the love aspect of the action, for me at least. Because you can say you want it all day, but you put no action behind it, it means nothing. It's just words. And relationships, it takes two. One person do all the work, you get burned out. That's called being used. And for me, for self, reflection, it was a situation that we probably should have never went that way, or I definitely seen us grow apart And I mean, I tried to, grow together, but obviously it takes two to mingle. You know what I'm saying?
Did you do couples therapy or premarital therapy
No,
counseling?
I wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
And we did have a conversation with a, religious therapist,
Mm-hmm.
um, pastor,
Mm-hmm.
but it wasn't really like a real session.
Mm-hmm.
It was more just a meetup.
Mm-hmm.
I wish we did do. I know that's bad grammar,
So,
but I wish we did. Have those counseling meetings prior.
mm-hmm.
We had it at the end. I feel like we were headed in the right direction,
Mm-hmm.
but once again, you have to really be there. You have to
Mm-hmm.
be.
You have to want it.
You have to want it.
Yeah, because marriage is, for me,
Mm-hmm.
right? Marriage is fighting the good fight.
Mm-hmm.
Marriage is working through the different versions of this person that you said I do to,
Mm-hmm.
because who you married is not supposed to say the same. And you're supposed to be able to, the goal is to be able to work through life together.
Correct.
So I think that getting to know a person before marriage through something like counseling,
Yep.
where you can be raw,
Mm-hmm.
is essential.
And for me, I feel as if I don't knock marriage. I'm more so against it than for it now. But it's more so you have to really go through life to know if that person is really down for you. Because as they say, let some shit hit the fan, and either they're gonna be fight right next to your side or they're gonna be flight. And sometimes, we just live life on a, I don't know, kind of like on a treadmill, and it's like you never know how things are really gonna go until you get in one of those situations, and then you see. But at that point, it's too late because you're already in it, So it's like, well, do they stay or do they go? So I don't know. It's kind of hard to test or being put in certain situations to see if that person is really rocking with you.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can, try to figure it out prior. But maybe the whole counseling thing can be one of those examples to get you there. But another thing for me is, I'm all about elevation and growth. And not saying that she wasn't, but she wasn't on my level.
How long did you date before you got married?
About 3 years. 3 years we dated before I proposed.
And how long after that did you get married?
A year after proposal.
What was the foundation of you proposing to her? Because proposing actually means you can spend the rest of your life with that person, right?
Correct. And that's what I thought. And that's, I guess, for me, and I can stand on that. Like, not to this day, but in the past, she was all I wanted.
Why?
So my foundation for us was friends first. Friends before everything. And we could communicate about anything, good, bad, and different. Hence me proposing to her. I took the route of getting the parents' permission. See if I was going to make it a family affair or just a me and her affair. What they say, I did my homework, but at the same time, just putting in that effort. Because one thing about me, I'm all about effort. And we kind of went through some deaths in the family, so it kind of shook a lot of things up. Even when it came to the career path, times got hard. COVID changed a lot of things, and she was right there. But somewhere after that, it wasn't there
Before or
anymore.
after marriage?
After marriage.
I
feel like she got comfortable.
What do you think changed in communication, though?
She stopped talking as much. Like I said, I feel like she got comfortable. And that's, not just with her, but some, from experience of different women and other, friends and family
Comfortable
relationships.
how?
Stop cooking and cleaning, stop communicating, stop dating, But like I said, everything kind of got one-sided because, sometimes you're like, oh, I got the ring, I got the house, I got the car, I got the husband, but now what? It's like,
you be a wife?
Yeah, but I don't really feel like she wanted to be a wife. She just wanted to be married. It takes a lot more than that. And I was a husband, and I could have been better. Of course, you always got to be accountable. But I feel like, I did a great job, and I'm not saying I was perfect, right? But at the same time, I was willing to put in effort.
Do you think you changed a little when she changed a little?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Even at times, like, I step back, because I'm like, why am I putting in so much effort and I'm not getting it in return? Because it kind of goes back to, well, I'm not feeling much love. Because, like, I felt like I got more respect from friends and family than I did my wife.
Right.
Which kind of hurt, obviously. But it got to another point of just let's make it work. And you would say one thing, but your actions would show another. Being considerate, I'm sorry, mattered.
Of course. And I think in all relationships.
It wasn't there. Maybe here and there, but not enough to be consistent. not for longevity. You know, but I wish her the best. You
Of
know,
course
for
you
sure.
do,
I wish her the
because
best.
love don't go away.
No, I still love her. I just don't like her.
What is one question you wish that people would ask you more?
Why not me?
You wish people would ask you, why not me?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why not me?
Mm-hmm.
Why not me, Frank?
I say you get in your own way. Like people are so scared. They lack faith. And they like, you know, they look at material things as success, and that's not it.
Talk to us.
You know, success it's within. But I mean, you know, if you want a nice car, nice house, big family, that's what you want. You know, not taking that away from anybody. But what's really stopping you from the next level?
Right.
Normally yourself.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. That is the common denominator in our lives is ourselves.
Yeah.
And nothing really stops us but us, right?
You know. Now also lack of resources, mentors, teachers. But
lack of finding them, because there are
they out there, but you gotta find them. Yeah.
There is not a lack of resource.
Nah.
You can type whatever in this computer and they give you a whole laundry list of stuff, contacts, whatever. Today's digital age is scary.
It is. But from my personal experience, it's not even so much of the mentors; it's finding the right one.
Absolutely.
You know, because everybody can be a guru or something, but you know,
they may not be the guru for you.
that part,
right.
That part. You know, so it helps to find somebody that's kind of in your field or your niche, but also who is intentionally trying to be genuine enough to give you the game, give you the sauce, and the right resources or tools to get where you want to be next. And that's where I come in.
Hello.
You know,
and tell me about that.
So, you know, for me, like I said, I do credit, but also credit goes a long way, like I said, when it comes to the 9 to 5 or everyday life. But also it helps you build your business, or it helps you get that dream home you want, or the car or cars that you want to drive, luxury or regular economy. Also, it builds, for me, it's legacy. Just think about it. When you have kids, you want them to have good credit. You want them to learn about financial literacy, because we don't learn that in school. You want to be budget. You want to learn how to budget. You want to just have good money management skills, you know, instead of just saying, you know, be the typical person. Oh yeah, my mom and dad put a light bill in my name and they messed up my credit and they don't know which way to go. And, you know, I got a credit card, but my limit is only 300. Well, what do I do? You know, go to a dealership. You can't buy anything on a lot. That's a bad feeling, you know?
What's the first thing you think of 18 years old, listening, 18-year-olds listening right now, fresh to credit good at this point, right? Because it's fresh. I mean, it ain't good, it ain't bad, but it's definitely in a place where you are at even ground, right?
Yep.
What is your advice?
My advice would be to log into, you know, freecreditreport.com, Experian.com. Do not use Credit Karma. Actually utilize one of those platforms to actually see where your credit is. That's number one. Number one is never trust a client. Let me see your profile. Let's see it. Then from there, if you don't really have anything or much on there, you know, good or bad, the first thing is either get a secured credit card or unsecured. And the goal is not to utilize it. You know, use it for chewing gum, use it for gas. You know, you 18, right? Like, what are you really doing? And plus, some of them have a job, some of them don't. The worst thing you can do is max it out and then just get in debt, get in more debt, get in more debt. You just clawing your way out. Don't utilize it like that. Typically do, like I said, gas, pay your phone bill, something that you got to pay anyway. You know, pay it down, keep a $50 balance or $100 balance. At any time, you can just pay it off. Then over time, because that's the goal, to have over time credit longevity or, you know, age credit. That is how you get to where you really want to be in life. Because what people got to understand or need to understand, I rephrase, even if you don't have a lot of cash flow or money, if you have good credit, you can go get the bag. You can go get money. Then you take that money to make money. As they say, scared money don't make money. It takes money to make money. All of that is very accurate. So just like me, I took my credit, I utilized it, I gained businesses. I can't gain rental cars. Like I have a rental car business, which, you know, of course, a car is nothing but a liability, just like a house, unless you're making an asset. You make it work for you. Everything makes you money. Copy and repeat. Or what they say, rinse, copy, repeat, you know? And you look up, you pay back everything that you borrowed, and you take off. You know, do life insurance, have a 401k, savings, high yield, invest in a team if you have, you know, if you got like-minded people around you. Everybody attack the same thing. It's always easier to do it with a team than by yourself. but you have to find like-minded people.
That's when it's easy.
That's when it's easy.
When you have like-minded people with the same goal and the same integrity.
Absolutely.
You
know, and
no,
sometimes
same integrity and the same goal, because you can have the same goal with some people who lack integrity. You never really get to that space because of something jacked up they done did.
Yep, because then they look out for self. You got the same goal, but then they'll just take what they already have and take what you got, and they'll take off and run with it.
Yeah.
And then you looking crazy, and then you got to rebuild.
Right. Yep. Have you been there?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I think that's what builds a real businessman, a real entrepreneur, is when you fail to the level of you just could really just give up, and then you take the time to build that back and build it to more than it ever was. Absolutely. That is perseverance, and that is entrepreneurship. Because people like to throw that word around.
Man, everybody want to be entrepreneur,
but it takes staying power.
They don't have the drive. They don't have the willpower. They don't have the discipline. They don't have a lot of things that come with it. You know, some people want to be so calculated. You got to know how to strive in chaos.
Right. Absolutely.
Because they get rough.
And you have to know how to build it back.
Absolutely.
You know, because when you helped me build my rental car business, and you helped me with a whole lot of things. That's how we know each other, right? Right. You helped me when my credit was good, when we were great.
Right.
Excellent.
Right.
Actually.
Got to get back there.
Yes. And then, but people know I've told the story on the podcast. I was at my high and then I hit rock bottom, but I thank God at this point for the rock bottom. I know that when I was at my highest heights with my properties and rental cars and all this other stuff, I was not as humble as I thought I was, and God had to show me that I was not as humble as I thought I was. Yeah. And so now I'm building it back. Now I am on my way back up, and once I get there, I'll know where my help came from, and I will never forget, Lord. And I, be a blessing, be a blessing. Yes, The
people who stayed down and God in my corner.
Right. That's it.
Yeah, because I was on a high of a high too. I've even had people ask me, like, well, how much have you technically ever touched? I said I've been a millionaire.
Absolutely.
But I've also been a millionaire backwards.
Yeah.
So it's like
a millionaire backwards, baby.
Man, I've touched $1 million in personal credit and business. And I mean, even now it's like I'm still striving for more. But they say once you hit it one time, you can do it
again and again. And so And so each time, or hopefully this is just the last time I build myself back up, you see it in a totally different light, and you appreciate it so much more. I think it came to me so fast before, boy, that I didn't appreciate. I mean, I appreciate it. Let me not say that. Yeah. But I didn't appreciate it.
Yeah. We were being very spontaneous.
A lot of shit.
We was being very spontaneous, but yeah, being humbled after the fact, it teaches you things.
Of course, it's all God moves.
It builds that character,
it builds faith.
Faith.
For me, it was building faith and a closeness with God, because I was at a point of where, because God will get you to a point of where you know beyond a shadow of a doubt that it's Him. And once you come to that realization, your whole view on, my whole view on life changed. My whole view on the things I value changed. My whole view on Him changed. Just everything did. And while it was rough, I can't never say my lights went off. I can't never say I was hungry.
Blessed.
But it was rough because of what I was used to.
You know what it was? Uncomfortable.
Yeah. And you can't grow unless you're uncomfortable.
Gotta stay in there.
Come on. And so I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for it. And so now I done learned to be obedient. I done learned to put God first. I done learned all that. And so I'm all right.
Yeah, I live uncomfortable because I'm never trying to be content.
Yeah, I'm not either. But God knows I don't really like to be uncomfortable. Don't make me be uncomfortable too long. Yeah. I like comfort. I do. I ain't gonna lie. Yeah. Now a little bit on being, uncomfortability, I can take it because I know what's on the other side. But baby, not for too long.
Not for too long.
I just,
But no, I enjoy it because it gives me that push. I don't like eating peanut butter and jelly and noodles, but at the same time, it allows me to still be humble because it's like, I can have nice cars, $250,000 cars. I can have a $500,000 house, but at the same time, I'm never gonna be what they say too big for my britches.
Right.
Like I'm gonna remember where I came from,
and always be a blessing to be a blessing. So tell me what a defining moment is in your life that has helped shape who you are today.
For me, I would say it would be graduating college. Why? No, I'm not the very first of my family to graduate, but for me, it was a very memorable memory or event in my life. One, it taught me that I can accomplish anything, but at the same time, that I do have the withal to make it. Or I guess for me, it's like when I was in college, I lost grandparents. I had a lot of negative things happen in life. I dealt with not suicide, depression, suicidal thoughts. Um, Grades were hit and miss because it's a different experience between high school or grade school and college. But at the end of the day, I finished with over a 3.0, and like I said, I finished. I even took time away and I started working as well because not having the funds to go to school, you got to sometimes work to get there. So the fact that I left school, worked, and came back, the fact that, like I said, I finished, it was a big accomplishment for me. But then after college, I got into banking, which kind of then.
What was your major?
Business administration.
So where'd you go?
Bachelor's, Georgia Gwinnett College, 316. But I just basically took what I learned from school, life, and mentors, and started working for myself, and I do what I do now. I don't regret that part at all.
I know it.
It's tough, but like I said, I do it any day because I work for me, but it's a blessing. It's a blessing because I make up my own hours. I do what I want to do. I get to help people, which is essentially what I want to do in banking and my purpose. I feel like it's my calling, and I get a few luxuries out of it.
This is the second time you brought up purpose and calling. What define your purpose?
So for me, my purpose, like I said, is helping people. Now, what that looks like to myself, I feel like it's helping financially and educational wise, but maybe it's more so just certain select people in my life. I'm still trying to figure that out. I don't know. I don't have all the answers, as they say. But I just want to be somebody in somebody's life where I matter, but at the same time, they can get to their next level, whatever that may be.
Our purpose is always to help, is always to serve in some way. And so I think you're spot on when you say that your service is to help, which I think that is our it's a God-given purpose,
right.
Is to serve others, because we're here to serve God.
Correct.
And to serve each other, to love each other, to help each other, right?
As brothers and sisters,
yes.
And God's children.
Yes, yeah. And so, I think your purpose and your financial literacy and to help folks to feel better about them, because that gives them a certain level of confidence. You have a certain level of confidence when you are financially stable.
Absolutely.
You have a certain level of confidence when you have an 800 credit score.
Man, you brag different.
What?
You brag different.
Oh,
sure.
My God. Try not to look down your nose at people.
I've seen some things that hurt. I care not to go there. Yeah, for sure. But no, it definitely gives you that peace of mind.
Yeah.
And for me, I mean, it is what it is. But I tell people, credit is like a gun. I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
Exactly.
And what I mean by that, just having good credit. Because you never know when things are going to occur in your life, and sometimes you might need to apply for that credit card.
Get it and lock it. Get it and lock it, y'all. Don't use it. Don't use it. Don't abuse it. Trust me. Yeah. Mentor. Who has been your greatest mentor?
My greatest mentor, other than God and my parents, I would have to say was this guy named Terrence. I think they call him Boogie, but his name is Terrence. I actually met him in the bank when I used to work in banking, and he used to always come in conducting business, and I basically just say, "Hey, bro, what do you do?" He gave me a little insight that he helps people with their finances and credit, et cetera, real estate. And I said, "How do I do what you do?" And he kind of took me up under his wing, and I was like a sponge.
I know, that's right. That's a beautiful thing.
And
what's the greatest thing he taught you?
Get out your own way and watch how things around you change. So once I got out my own way, not having faith and doubting and being scared, I got out my own way and I watched things happen.
Do you think people being scared is a lot of the reasons why people don't reach their height of what they might consider success?
No, I don't think being scared is the main factor. I think them not having a vision or them not having the internal withal. Like some people in experience are not meant to be an entrepreneur.
Oh no!
Like, or even
you got
have
worker
their own
bees
business.
And you got people who work for you. You got worker bees.
Yeah,
that's just how it is, and people don't mind.
That's just how it is. But ideally, if you stop being scared and just kind of go, but you have like a direction, I feel like you'll be okay. Of course, you have, not saying like you have to have a business plan like written out, drawn out, but just have a plan. And I mean, I think if you're really good at what you do, but sometimes it's not even about what you know, it's about who you know. You put put it together. Because a lot of people these days they do joint ventures.
Mm-hmm.
They don't do it. They don't recreate the wheel.
Mm-hmm.
They team up with somebody,
Mm-hmm.
or if they're already doing it, they just reinvest.
Mm-hmm.
Make it make sense.
Right.
That's one of my biggest slogans.
Make
Gotta
it
make
make
it make
dollars
sense.
and cents.
Gotta
though.
make it dollars and cents. Gotta make it make sense. And it's gotta benefit both parties.
Last man's ceiling is your floor.
Yeah.
So I definitely yeah. We spoke of childhood. What's your favorite childhood experience? What's your favorite childhood memory?
One of my favorite childhood memories is my parents taking me to Alaska. We took a cruise, and it was the fact of being able to see a different part of the world. Still in the U.S. considerably, but the air is so much cleaner. Food is so much fresh. Obviously, when it comes to the seafood, but just seeing the wildlife, and being around family. It was really big for me because it was a memory that I always remember. Because even when I die, I told my mom and dad, like, I want to be cremated, but also I want my ashes to be lit out in Alaska.
Is that right?
Yep. So at least they get a free trip out of it.
Why you told your parents that?
Because that's what I want.
But why you told them that?
Well, one, they on my life insurance. But it's in my will.
My Lord.
Yeah, it's even in my will. Even at a young age, I got a will. I got a will, life insurance. I made sure everything is already set in stone.
That's what's up.
Yeah. So that way they get a free trip out of it too, though. But it was, like I said, it was a great.
Well, hopefully they don't have to take that trip.
Well, yeah, hopefully they don't.
My God.
Yeah, hopefully they don't have to.
My Lord.
Yeah. Hopefully they don't have to. Well, we'll take that trip.
Be justified,
right.
Please.
We'll take that trip together alive.
Yeah.
again. But yeah. So.
What is gratitude to you? How does it play a role in your life?
Gratitude. I don't know. That's tough. That's a tough question.
Let's work through that. Let's talk about it, hon. Man. What is gratitude? Like the word gratitude, define it.
Acknowledgement of service and appreciation.
Is your love language acts of service? What is it?
Physical touch.
That's it. What's the ranking? It's like
physical touch, then acts of service.
Yeah. Because you talk about that a lot.
And then after that, words of encouragement. Gifts probably last.
Yeah, the whole lot makes sense now.
Hey, so they say I'm used to people. It's not the best thing, right? I'm just used to people not giving out what I give. If that makes sense. Like I give more than what others give, and I mean maybe that's just how I was raised, or just how they're not able to
reciprocate.
Thank you. Yep. Basically, they're not able to reciprocate
in the way that you
that I would. Yeah.
But perhaps that's just not how they are wired. Like
and that's okay. Like I don't fault people for that, right?
Right.
But then that goes back to effort. Genuine. Like you feel it. It's an energy. It's a vibe. I know when you're trying to reciprocate compared to you just like, oh, okay.
So if you give somebody active service, you rub their feet, you give them take their car to get washed or whatever the case may be, and they give you a gift.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate that. Like, of course, I appreciate it, and I feel like that's a great exchange. But my thing is, I would honestly appreciate a thank you, or a kind smile, like basically something uplifting, some type of light.
Well, I would sure hate you do something for somebody they don't say thank you. Good Lord, that's just rude.
Some people like that though, and that's what's crazy.
Interesting.
Yeah. Some people like that. I mean, I ain't saying all the people I be around like that, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, you might need to change your circle.
Yeah.
What do we do about when we are expecting something and it is not fulfilled?
Some of that personal growth or self-growth when you say it's okay to not expect things from people or others.
It takes time and effort to rewire the brain, to not expect of others what you give to them, and to actually expect for people not to give you what you give them, right? Because we're not the same person. So you can't. So when you do things and you do them with no expectations, I think that it lessens the blow when you don't get it back,
right. Or
if you get it back in a different way, right? So we just give and love and be who we are, and do it as much as we can in a respected environment. And if we're not thriving in that environment, or feeling reciprocated, or feeling appreciated, then that's not the environment for you.
Correct.
Right. But back to gratitude. Let's work through that.
Let's work through that.
What is grateful? What are you grateful for?
I'm grateful for life, but I'm also grateful for chance, the ability to make tomorrow different than today.
What else you grateful for?
Food.
What else?
I'm still trying to figure that out. And I mean, that might be a weird, off the wall answer.
And I'm looking at you like how y'all know how dogs be doing when they turn their head to the side trying to figure it out.
I'm still trying to figure that out.
About what you're grateful for.
Yeah. Because a lot of my life has happened. A lot has happened in my life where I'm rebuilding. So it's like things that are, that I had sure answers of. Right?
Are you grateful for the opportunity to rebuild?
I am.
I'm grateful to be able to walk.
I am.
Breathe, see, smell,
yeah,
touch, drive.
We take that for
Mama
granted,
alive.
Yeah.
Your daddy still alive?
Yep.
Daddy alive.
Yep.
You know, having been married, having divorced, there was the what you've learned from that experience, right?
Yeah.
Having a bed to go sleep in, having food to eat, money in your pocket, money in the bank, a God that loves you, able body, able mind. Somebody didn't wake up this morning. Somebody woke up and half their body wasn't working.
So yeah, they got a lot to be grateful about, right?
Amen. So if you don't take nothing else from here, send here today.
Yeah, I got a lot to be grateful for.
I need you to walk around in gratefulness and gratitude, because you are light years ahead of somebody who wish they were sitting where you sitting there today.
I agree with that. I agree. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed and highly favored.
And blessed connects to, and favor connects to gratitude, and gratitude connects to gratefulness. All that runs together. The more you have gratitude and being grateful, the more that you are blessed.
Preach.
The more that you see you are blessed, and not just the superficial things.
No, absolutely.
The deeply rooted things, that you walk around a healthy man today, not having to think about dialysis or chemotherapy tomorrow. Okay, so when people ask you what
you're grateful for,
please, it's a laundry list.
Yeah, abundance.
Feel the air on our body. Come on now. All right, so
hey, take me to school, preach. Take me to church. But no, I definitely agree though. I mean, you got a very valid point on all of it, because that is a blessing. I have a lot to be grateful for. I guess like for the mental though, it's like you think about
embed that in there.
Yeah.
Because that will change for me. And what I know about life, and my experience, and my lows, my moments of lows, of feeling like I'm just beneath the earth, just emotionally. What pulls me out of that most times is just naming the things I'm grateful for. My son, he's able-bodied, just all these things, having more lights on, the water on, like grass in I got a house to go to. I just keep naming things, and that to just come from being the material things is just life, the life and health of my son, my parents, my daddy, where my upbringing, you know what I'm saying? Just all these things. So that's what helps me in moments of being low, is just honing in on being grateful.
I like that.
And living in gratitude.
I'll definitely take that from here.
Yeah.
For sure.
Because even the lessons, even like when we go through a tough time, I'm grateful for that as well. Because had I not gone through the tough times, I wouldn't have the strength that I have now. I wouldn't know what I know now. So even in those times, you count it all on joy. It's all to be just rejoicing in it all.
Yeah, because not even a loss, it's a lesson.
Finish this sentence. I am happiest when.
I'm happiest when my mom is on vacation.
Why is that? That could be seen so many different ways.
Well, for one, she deserves it.
She
deserves it. Two, sometimes I'm able to help her provide that experience for her life. Three, she's put a lot of work in on me and others. So like I said, it kind of goes back to the original. She deserves it. But she also gets to smile.
If you could speak to your 11-year-old self, what would you tell him?
Man, stay focused. Stay focused. Have better judgment of people and character. Stay true to you. Don't get into the limelight.
If you could meet anyone in this world, dead or alive, and who would it be, and what would you discuss?
Probably my grandfather on my mom's side. He was alive. He died when I was 6, 5 or 6. Obviously I got pictures of me and him, and I was his world. First child grandbaby. I would like to speak with him though, because I would like to speak to him about life, what it is that some of the things that he went through. Because of course at 5 or 6 I wasn't, I ain't had no knowledge like I have now. But for him, he sung with Duke Ellington. He was a songwriter, singer. He was a nightclub owner, and he was a school teacher.
Really?
So I feel like I got some of my hustle from him. Maybe it'll help me like understand my lineage a little bit better.
Of course.
Or maybe like why some of the things that I do.
Right. Exactly. You know? What was his name?
His name was James McPhail, but they call him Jimmy. Yeah.
What is manhood?
Being accountable. Communicate effectively, efficiently. Being okay to be flawed. Being vulnerable. Like what they said, so typical, but it's not even so much a provider or a protector. Of course, that kind of goes hand in hand.
How do you navigate between, because you're very ambitious. Yeah.
I try to be.
How do you navigate between ambition and contentment?
Well, as I stated earlier, I'm not content. My goals are, because you have those reach for the stars or reach for the sky and land upon the stars type goals. And then you have what's my 1 month goal, 2 month goal, 6 month goal. For me, I'm never satisfied, but I know there is satisfaction in what I do and what I'm achieving.
So do you celebrate your wins?
Absolutely. Big ones and small ones.
You content in that moment.
Even if it's just going to go get an ice cream or just doing something fun or doing something that I like. To
mark that accomplishment. Honor it, I say.
Yep.
A lot of times I find that people, once they accomplish a goal, they don't take the time to celebrate that goal. They just are ready for the next goal.
Yep.
But they don't honor themselves and the work they put in and the goal that they have accomplished.
Correct.
Which, it can lead to you never being satisfied, never stopping to see the things that you have done.
Yep.
Tell me, I'm going to give you 3 words. You're going to pick one and expound on it, okay?
Okay.
Clarity, honesty, or compartmentalize?
Honesty.
Why?
It's one of those situations where it's like, give me the option. Be honest with me. Give me the option to make the option. Like I said, that's not the way I wanted to word it, but basically be honest, be upfront.
Honor me with honesty. Honor me with honesty. Or what else is there to talk about? Why lie to me? Because the worst thing I could do is be mad. I ain't gonna kill you. You ain't gonna lose your life. That's the most valuable thing you got.
Right.
And so if you lose me in the act of your honesty, it's not because you're being honest. It's because of whatever it is that you did. But you was big and bold enough and bad enough to do whatever it was you want to lie about. Just be honest.
Yeah. Because if I'm gonna rock with you still, I'm gonna rock with you regardless.
Period. Anyway, thank you, Frank Break. For
Thank you so much.
1188 Outside the Box. Did you enjoy?
Absolutely.
Did you feel free?
I did. You got me thinking about things. You got me thinking about things in a different light. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Ain't nothing wrong with it.
That is the point of 1188 Outside the Box. That's the goal. Mission accomplished.
Yeah. Hey, you got me thinking outside the box.
Hey, what's your message to the world today as we sign off?
Hey, remember what you're grateful for.
Hey.
That's big. That's real big. But also, just live life, cherish it, cherish the ones around you, take care of self. Can't take care of others if you can't you can't take care of others, you can't help yourself. So take care of self. Because self-love and self-care, that's huge.
Fill your own cup up first.
Hey, that part.
And it's okay to be selfish.
It's okay.
It's definitely okay to be selfish. Yeah. It's better to be selfless, but we have to be selfish before we can even think about being selfless.
Absolutely. But like I said, I know another big thing is that I appreciate for you or from you. It's just a friendship, because going through the good and bad through the years, I wouldn't trade you for the world.
Oh, you made me cry. You know how I'm proud of you.
Because sometimes it's good just to have that person say, "Hey, how you doing?" And actually
and mean
care.
it.
Yeah,
that's one of those questions. The question I asked you earlier. What do you wish people ask you more? My answer is, how are you doing, and actually mean it. Like, not just in passing, not just to say it, but to actually want to know how I'm doing.
Yeah, and then if I give you a boatload, you actually there, for
listen.
me.
Yeah, because sometimes you don't even need to hear nothing. You just need somebody to listen.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate that compliment, and I'm gonna be here for you.
Yes, ma'am. Same here.
Fill your ear with some good stuff. Yeah. Always.
Yeah. Already.
Right. Till next time, y'all. We out. That was good.
Thank you for listening to this episode of 1188 Outside the Box. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. I certainly hope that you caught some gems to help you change and better your perspective on you. In the meantime, check out 1188outsidethebox.net for more about us and shop our collection. And also, catch up on other episodes right here on YouTube. Until then, remember that growth ain't optional, y'all. It is a lifestyle.